Hello, Momento. If you hear Papa noise in the back, it's because I'm recording this on the 4th of July. So, late 4th of July to people in Americas. I already did my 4th of July review, but you can see I'm already fighting blues. Because I was stressed because I thought I was going somewhere today and I didn't go nowhere, so 4th of July from home. But anyway, I decided since I was not going anywhere, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to watch and I'm going to record Wild Card Wednesday, which is Fire in the Sky from 1993, starring Robert Patrick, D.B. Sweeney, Elliot from E.T., Philip from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I didn't realize it was him because it didn't look like him. Yeah, this was interesting because, well, I was told this was a horror movie, and there are some horror aspects, but it's more of a psychological drama of sorts. What it is the first half hour of this is a recount of events that transpired. So this is based on a book it's based on true stories of Travis Walter. He was abducted back in 1975 by aliens, supposedly, and this is the story of it. Yes, of course, there's a lot of embellishing for the Hollywood, movie system, but, you know. So the beginning of this sees, the people that are in a truck, they're driving back to town, they're crashing everywhere and stuff, and they get back, and, they said that one of them, Travis, is missing. The cops show up, and then they tell the story what happened. So the first half hour of this is basically recounting the events leading up to and taking place during and after the events of the abduction. And let me just say that, I'll just say here, special effects in this movie are actually pretty good. This was directed by Robert Lieberman. I don't know what else he did. The Dead Zone TV series, I think, with Anthony Michael Hall. And I think he did a couple episodes of Dexter. But, yeah. So, yeah. Robert Patrick he's basically the lead character for most of this film. He plays Mike. He's Travis's best friend. And after Travis goes missing, he and his buddies, they take the brunt of this. Like sheriff or marshal, whatever it is. He comes from out of state, played by James Garner, rest in peace. Mannix, I think he was Mannix, wasn't he? Rockford Files. And the Maverick, maybe not Mannix, Maverick, I'm thinking Maverick, that's what I'm thinking of. Mannix was a different guy. But, Maverick, maybe he's Mannix, I don't know. Anyway, when they say that Travis disappeared, the cops show up and they're this guy, the sheriff guy, whatever, played by James Garner. He doesn't believe anything. He believes nothing. He blames Dallas, played by Craig Sheffer, because he's got a mark on him. They tell this, during the story they said they had, the whole thing they have with the chainsaws or whatever, and they have had problems. He believes that. First, he believes Dallas murdered him, and then he believes that they somehow all were involved in the murder, and they can't find the body. And the whole town starts to get skeptical of the situation, not believing anything. Mike is already having problems with his wife. This doesn't make it any easier. Mike's sister was the one, Dana was the one dating him, and, they do eventually get married, dating, Travis. They do eventually get married, in real life and in the movie, but, yeah, they're asked to do a lie detector test, and they're like, we shouldn't have to do that, we are telling the truth, but they don't believe him. Okay, we'll all submit to a lie detector test. They take the test, and they all come back, they all pass, except for they say Dallas is inconclusive. His is inconclusive. So it's like, what? But later, okay, so I want to question this. They say Dallas is inconclusive, and the sheriff was questioning him earlier, right? So when Mike gets a phone call, and he knows that it's Travis. They find him at a gas station, naked, and he's freaking out. And they go through all the stuff. He's at the hospital and all that. You see flashes, alien spaceships and alien flashes. Really kind of creepy. But because Travis has come back after 5 days, the sheriff now, James Garner's character, he now thinks that everything is a hoax. That, because there's a line, when he's talking to him, he goes, "Oh, the nurse said that you were there were 5 days without any food or water. You must have went to great lengths," or something like that. And I'm just like, really? You think he starved himself for 5 days for a hoax, for a prank? Who would go that far? And then he tells the local sheriff, he says, well, since he's returned, all the lie detector tests they took are now inconclusive. So that tells me that originally he believed Dallas was responsible for a murder committed. And that's why when they all passed, he said Dallas was inconclusive, because he still thought that he was responsible for it. Even though the lie detector test probably said he passed, he was going by what he thought and not what that says. Even though Mike says earlier, oh, if it says we passed, then we passed. If it says, whatever that thing says, oh, we telling the truth, we're telling the truth. It says, that thing can say that we lied, and you'll believe that too. Yeah, like it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? And, so yeah, upon his return, all the tests are now inconclusive, because the sheriff now believes everything is a hoax. He's not going to listen to the lie detector tests. So, yeah. And then we get the scene. Alright, in this scene, I saw part of this scene. See, Eric, I keep mentioning him on the channel, he was watching this one time. And I came over to his place. And I happened to see part of this, and he actually turned it off. He's like, "Bro, I don't want to freak you out, so I'm just I'll finish watching this later." I'm like, "Okay." Well, I'm glad he did, because this is a freaky scene. We see him, so they have this whole welcome home party for him, which, okay, the guy is in a bad mental state. You're going to have a bunch of people there talking and yelling and whatever. Loud people at a welcome home party. Hey, you want to welcome home? Wait a little bit. You know what I mean? Don't just have it right away. You know what I'm saying? But they do. And then he's gone. And then Daniel finds him underneath the table. And I knew this because I've seen this part from like, oh, here we go. This is the scene. He freaks out and knocks over a bottle of syrup, maple syrup. And that reminds him of the brown goo that he got. And then we get this flashback. He wakes up on a ship. He's in some kind of membrane, which apparently wasn't actually there when he was actually abducted. Okay, before I continue, my stance. I believe in aliens, okay? I believe they're out there, alright? But it is hard to believe when someone says, I got abducted by aliens, and this is what happened. It's just like, you want to believe, but you don't know if you can believe. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, when I say based on a true story, give or take. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, he wakes up in this membrane thing. He breaks it. He goes out. He floats up. There's like no gravity, which, how can you breathe if there's no gravity? I know. Spaceships, they have no gravity at first. But do they breathe around the gravity? I don't know. Gravity and atmosphere, they're different, but So, yeah, and then the aliens find him and they strap him down to the chair. And I firmly believe that they only did this because it's PG-13. But they strap him down. You got this one stuff that keeps him strapped down or whatever, stuff in his face. They cut the thing and so his eyes out, and they cut the thing. They put some uh, brown shit in his face, in his mouth, and then they hold his mouth open, and then they probe his eye. I firmly believe that if this movie was rated R, it would have been a different kind of probe, if you know what I'm saying. But I'm sitting there going, are they gonna probe him? But it's an eye probe, so I'm like, okay, it's PG-13. They're not gonna go that far, I think. Pretty dark scene. Then he wakes up, and they somehow got him to a psychiatrist's office, and that's when they're like, I think that's when the sheriff says the lie detector tests are now inconclusive, and he's leaving, but he's not done by a long shot. And it's just, he's not. He still doesn't believe. Although the local sheriff is kind of more believable in the situation, but anyway, so then we cut to 2 years later. He and Dana have a son, and she's pregnant. The son named Michael, by the way, and she's pregnant, and he's got to drive to work, but then he takes a turn, he turns around, and he goes to this house in the woods, which where Mike now lives. Find out that he was divorced from his wife, and he's living as a recluse. So Travis shows up. They drive up to where it happened, and Mike doesn't want to get out, but he's like, they talk it out and everything's fine. He tells him, oh, you don't. He's like, oh, you're about to be an uncle again. He's like, again. He's like, oh, you didn't hear? Yeah, Michael's about 2 years old now. Michael. That's all right. Like, his name. But yeah, and they reconcile and they drive off, and we get some text that tells us that in 1976, Mike and his wife, they got divorced, and then in 1993, which is when around this movie came out, that Mike got his job back in 1992. And in 1993, they resubmitted Mike, Travis, and Dallas to lie detector tests, and all three of them passed. Now, whether or not that sheriff was there to question them, to question it, I do think that if this out-of-town sheriff, because there's even a point when they're at this church meeting or whatever, when Mike says, like, I grew up here, your children go to school with my girls, and he calls out people's names. I truly believe that if that one sheriff wasn't around to be to be negative about the situation and not believe in it, I truly believe that this community might have been more, into it. But this guy came in and he was negative about the whole situation. And then you have these people coming from out of town disturbing this, and because of this. But I feel like if this guy didn't come from out of town, they could have kept it, But then this guy kept it, in their own little town. But this guy comes from out of town, and now there's more news. Oh, this guy came here and do alien stuff like that. It's just, too much. But I feel like it could have been just a little more contained if this guy wasn't around. So who's to say if that guy wasn't around and all three of them passed, maybe people were like, oh, maybe this guy is, telling the truth. Who knows? To this day, you never know. And the one thing about this film I want to say is there is no actual conclusion to the story, because this is based on a true story. If we had a conclusion, there's no hard evidence and there's no actual confirmation that what happened actually happened, because they did that, people would say, oh, that's why it's based on a true story. They confirmed that it happened, so it's just a movie. But leaving it open-ended like that, did it really happen? Did it not happen? You see what, he saw in his mind. You don't know. It's a little more iffy. But I enjoyed this film. Now I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. My rating on Vudu, if I do a movie on Vudu, I can rate it. I gave it a 4.5 stars out of 5. You know, which would actually be a 9. But I'm going to give it 8 because, you know, give or take. So, I'm going to pick my next one. And then I got a taste test as well. So, let's see. We're going to go ahead and pick the next movie. Hopefully it's like a Blu-ray or a DVD because I'm sick of watching the digital stuff. So we got Missing in Action with a Chuck Norris. So keep a look for that. We got to taste test here. So I got this Bang Rainbow Unicorn Energy Drink. Yeah, pop, 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 pop. We're going to celebrate the 4th. Well, you're not watching this on the 4th, but I'm going to drink this. I had the Star Blast. That was pretty good. And I've had the Cotton Candy. And that was the shit. So, the shit. It wasn't shit. It was the shit. Alright? So, we do this one. Kind of smell like strawberry. Okay. How are flies getting into my apartment? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Got a weird aftertaste, but it's not bad. So, let's end, alright? What are your thoughts on Fire in the Sky? Comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty. This has been Wild Card Wednesday. Let me know in the comments below what you think about... I already did that. I'll see you in the next one. Sorry. I'm already messed up from the energy drink. I'm sorry. Blah.